At the Ocean Business 2017, Norbit had a survey vessel running for 3 days of demonstrations to highlight the simplicity of its systems, from setup to operation to data acquisition, serving experienced hydrographers and newcomers alike. Peter Erickson, Business Unit Director, and Mike Muchler, Hydrographic Applications of Norbit Subsea, explain.
The Norbit name, it is well known obviously in these halls here, but for our viewers and our readers who might not be so familiar with the Norbit name, can you just give us an overview of the company and your offering to this market?
But if you go to www.norbit.com, you will see that there is a couple of different business units, where Subsea is the newest of those business units. Today it's the biggest as well. We have our own production, which is quite unique in the multi-beam echosounder arena, where most people outsource the production. We have our own production facility as part of the Norbit portfolio of companies. And we have our own R&D house, which we call Norbit ODM. Okay. And we have another small or bigger part of the company called ITS, Intelligent Traffic Systems, for radar-based technology for road tolling. So again, coming back to Subsea, which is really why we're here, we do multi-beam echosounders primarily for hydrographic use.
In discussing your technology, you've said that Norbit has a unique approach to multi-beam echo sounders. Can you discuss specifically what you mean by your unique approach?
Yes, I think what we're trying to focus on keeping things simple and not over-engineer it. So there's been a long trend in the industry where it's been very feature-driven, where people, established players have sort of had to innovate, and then they found some new feature they could put in and then made things even more and more complicated for the end users. So what we're trying to do is break that pattern and really simplify the use of a multi-beam echo sounder, not just on the user interface for controlling the sonar, but now what you will see today when you go on the boat is we've simplified even more part of the GNSS INS into our software, so it's even simpler for the users to operate. We still have all the features, but really the focus is on keeping things simple.
Well, as you said, it's absolute simplicity of operation and setup. It's the whole round simplicity. For example, we will take an entire kit and it ships inside of a small box. That small box can be then taken onto any airplane as checked luggage, and it contains everything. So I need basically that box, my laptop bag, and a sound speed profiler. So this is one example of simplicity of operation. Norbit's taking it to the full set of the survey experience. For example, the sound speed profiler is compact and fits inside the box. It's made by AML for Norbit, and we've helped design that to better the survey experience. Okay. If we even take it to the topside unit, this is the complete topside unit. It's an IP67 topside unit, and this is all the surveyor needs, this with his laptop, and the very small compact wet end.
If you had to classify user demands today in the markets that you serve, what are the drivers for Norbit to develop its products and its technologies?
So the user base, from my perspective, is really two distinct bases. There is the established players, so the survey companies, which most of them is here, and they have done surveys for many, many years, and they are the most feature-driven, so they want this feature, this feature, this feature. Yes. The people coming into the industry, they just want to measure water depth. And they want to be able to do it maybe in some remote places. We have helicoptered in our system and done surveys in very high altitude lakes. We've been on Svalbard along glacier front faces. We've been in the Caribbean where we've had very small installations. So we're seeing that those new users, they are really attracted to the simplicity because one, it's expensive to get into, so our systems is not so expensive. Okay. But it's not the main driver. The main driver is really the ease of getting into it, so the simplicity is driving some of the demand, and I'm sure we're converting a lot of single beam users or users which are not used any sort of water depth measuring devices before.
On your own boat, you would have one cable coming in. The one cable that comes in is connected to your sonar receiver, your sonar transmitter, your sound speed probe, and the IMU. The same IMU that is used by PosView. One cable coming in for the wet end sensor set. One cable for the primary antenna. The primary antenna is used for positioning and timing. A secondary antenna that's used for heading aiding. We would also have the ability to add on a secondary sensor. That secondary sensor could be an IMU, could be a LiDAR, could be a secondary sonar head for dual head, could be a secondary sonar for forward-looking obstacle avoidance, or forward-looking inspection, standard forward-looking sonar. There's a PPS port here that's for other equipment if you want to connect it to your sub-bottom or ADCP for triggering. And your power cord cable goes in here. The power cable can go straight to a laptop-style battery brick that you can run from 110 or 220, or you can plug it right into a battery, a 12-volt battery. And if you take a standard 900 milliamp battery, that'll last 6 to 8 hours, depending on the temperature. We've kept 160 degree swath. And we're going to see if we can look at the bulkhead over there. And there it is. You see there's a lot of pilings here. You can see through the window there's quite a few pilings running and cross beams and whatnot. We can even see the slope every so often as we pass through. And so we're seeing right up, nearly up to the water surface. It won't get right up to the water surface if you're looking to do engineering surveys or whatnot, where you want to match the LiDAR data with the bathymetry data perfectly. You'll probably have, I think, about 30, 40 centimeters or so, at least, depending on how far away you are. Because your beam angle, is going to create a longer footprint, and you'd be reflecting off the water surface around the corner. If you effectively change the direction, you want to do, so people don't get lost, you have to first set your swath, then set your rotation. I just type in a very big number so I don't have to think about it. It will go as far as it can, always to horizontal. And then if you want to see above, then you have to force it up to 134, a higher value, so 145 for example. It's a lot of work, a lot of clicking. So we have customers that say, well, it's all good, but I don't have time to click all this. I'm driving the boat and I'm collecting data. So how can I just have a one-button approach? Well, actually, let's just save what we have here. Instead of me loading it, I'll show you. We're going to save this configuration. It's going to this location in the folder. So you can copy this onto a USB drive and take it with you always, or give it to somebody. So I want this configuration with all these settings, and I'm going to call this, 12 o'clock, for lack of a better name.
This is new version 10.2 then?
Yes. I saved it as 12 o'clock. You can't find it. Maybe I didn't hit save. Save configuration. Some funny name. Yeah, there it is, right here. So now I can click around. And this is the beta version. So I just clicked the setting that I saved before called wide mode. I want to see 180 degree swath straight through. If I want to look over to the port side, then I can just click the port side button. I missed it. So you can see this is really an effective way of doing it. It's very quick. One click, and you're off and running. So we're trying to minimize as much user intervention as possible. The surveyor has enough on his plate with managing a survey, collecting sound speed profiles, making coffee. It's removing a lot of the tedious tasks and the subjective tasks that the surveyor would have to go through. For example, sonar tuning. The sonar tuning is happening automatically. The sonar should know what the signal is. It should know what the right settings are. The sonar is measuring this. Removing the surveyor from it removes the subjectivity. How much power should I apply? How much gain should I apply? How much TVG parameters? What makes it correct? The surveyor would never know until he does a performance evaluation. And you have to do a performance evaluation for every sonar survey setup and every tuning parameter. So the system is doing this automatically for him. The user's requirement is only to set up the correct viewing angle. So whether they want a 180-degree swath, if they're doing a narrow bank-to-bank channel, or if they want to scan specifically one side. And we've even taken it to another level where we've removed the inertial navigation separate user interface. So that's all tightly integrated into single user interface that the user can see at a glance the health of the system and the quality of the data.
Norbit technology was put to the test on the water at Ocean Business Expo in Southampton.
Well, we're very excited about, first of all, the integration with the GNSS INS user interface. It's a very tight integration. So that is a major display and portrayal of what Norbit's been up to. In addition to that, we also have a dual head system. So a dual head system is very good for very, very shallow water. We have a wide platform like this. It's an ideal platform. It's a 4-meter beam vessel. And so we're able to see a very wide swath. Plus, we're putting the transmission into the area of interest, which is furthest away. We've been doing tests, and we've been easily getting up to 18 times water depth. That's not IHO special order, but for general hydrographic purposes, we're definitely getting way out there and high resolution, generally high resolution and wide swath coverage. So that's one application. And I bring this guy back up again. That second sonar head just plugs into the auxiliary port right here. So we're again one single top side.
Today we are launching and showing the world for the first time our all brand new stationary 3D sonar. So that's going to be cool to get the interaction with the people here and see what they think about it. We've had it out with different key clients the last 6, 9, 12 months, so we have quite a lot of experience with it. But now this is the first time it's on display.
Another system that we have here is it's a 3D scanning system. So it generates a 3D point cloud of data that is 30 degrees wide by 150 degrees in the opposite direction. And this has a very specific application for construction, engineering, dredging, rock dumping, anything where somebody needs to know real time, right away, from a fixed platform perhaps, what is happening to the seafloor. And we found that to be quite an effective tool in generating a lot of interest.
Norbit's new 3D scanning system is not only generating interest, it is generating operational efficiencies and savings.
What we've seen with one of the big dredge companies is that we are down to 40% of their time consumption per site. So that's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive.
While Norbit still is a relatively new name, today its business is really starting to take off.
In as much detail as possible, can you discuss some recent orders, including this morning, I believe, is the largest in the company history?
Yes, this morning we were so fortunate we received a PO in my mailbox when I got up, and it is the biggest number in the last corner we've received so far. So that's for a number of multi-beam systems, our highest spec system you can possibly buy. And then on top of that, I had another 2 orders coming in from one of our partners here in Europe.
Okay.
So it was a good morning.